Remember I was a Puerto Rican talking to you last time?
You're the Puerto Rican dude. I think. Oh, you're the same guy, right?
So I have some facts for you, Tariq. I did some little research about how Latinos
Okay.
have helped Black people.
Oh, I got to hear this. Let's go with it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Um, During the 1800s, runaway slaves ran into Mexico, and Mexican people helped kill the white people that held these slaves during slavery.
Okay. Let me stop you right there. Okay, you're talking about the Black Seminoles who went in there and became the Muskogos. That was John Horse and the Black Seminoles who went down into Mexico because they were about to be recaptured when they went into Indian territory. So they made a deal with Mexico. And remember, Mexico was a black satellite. And in fact, the earliest presidents, some of the early presidents, Vicente Guerrero, was black himself. So we're talking about a place with a lot of black Maroons that were already there. Cinco de Mayo, these were black people who were Maroons fighting. But you're talking about the Muskogos, and they went down there and they got political help from the Mexican government because there were black people, again, who was the president of Mexico, Vicente Guerrero, and also they needed those black people to protect the borders because Mexico was militarily weak. Those Spanish looking Mexicans down there weren't putting in no damn work. It was the Muskogos who was protecting the border of Mexico from hostile Mongoloid Indians. It was John Horse and those people beating the brakes off the white supremacists and some of those Comanche Indians. The Texas Rangers tried to go into Mexico. It was those black Seminoles who whooped their asses and sent them back. So it was the black people who were doing most of the heavy lifting. So they needed the black folks really more than they
But
need
but my question is, how come you can't give credit where credit is due?
because you
It
didn't put
seems
it
like
in context. Because you didn't put it in context. You made it seem like they helped some poor, downtrodden black people. No, black people were down there protecting the border of Mexico. Put it all in context, brother. Come on, you're talking to a historian. I'm doing a movie about this right now. I'm doing a movie about this, so please
so
don't
I
cut.
am right. I am right, Tariq. Sir, listen. What I'm trying to say
No,
is,
no, you're not, because the black people, the people down in Mexico that were helping, again, it was the black people helping. It was the black people, and it was a political move that benefited them more than. And I say Mexico, it benefited them more than anything. It benefited them more. They needed some strong soldiers on that border to help them out, so that benefited them. It was black people really helping them more than anything. If you want to be very clear about it.
okay, so I want to talk about the black races are in authoritative positions.
Okay, the black races who are in authoritative positions, sir. Who's black?
We look at the president in South Africa killing white farmers. We
Stop,
see it at
stop,
we see it everywhere now. We see it in the
stop,
Caribbean,
stop,
where in St. Thomas,
stop.
white people are being arrested left and right now.
Dude, I've been over there to the Virgin Islands. White people are over there living high off the hog. Black people are over there in squalor. I was over in the Virgin Islands. Black people are struggling, and white people over there own all the businesses. They run everything, and they run South Africa. There are no white people getting killed in South Africa. Y'all, that's a white supremacist lie that they like to spread on these social media outlets. There are no white people being killed, no white farmers being killed by no black people in no damn South Africa. That's a lie that they use to try to justify practicing white supremacy, to try to make it seem like there's some kind of comparative black supremacy. Black people, and I've been to South Africa, sir. You're talking to somebody who's been to these places. Black people in South Africa are struggling and
Then
starving
why is it all over the news? So the news
because
is
they're
lying to
because
us?
a lot of stuff is all over the COVID information is all over the news. Do you believe all of that?
I'm sorry?
COVID information is all over the news too. Do you believe that?
Um, Almost a million Americans have died, Tariq.
I understand that. So you believe everything they're telling you about COVID?
No.
All right then. So you don't believe everything you see on the news, especially when it comes to race relations. It's always going to be under the lens and the views of white supremacy. You understand?
So you do see some commonality. So what I'm trying, my point here is I'm trying to get into common with you, Tariq. I'm just trying to see how we could just compromise. What I'm trying
Compromise
to
what?
say.
What compromise what? What are we compromising?
No, it's because if I do say something, you're gonna gaslight me,
I'm not
and you just
gaslighting
get
you, but you're talking to something. You're saying stuff that's just not true, and you're hoping that I don't know the truth, but I know the truth, and I'm correcting you when you say something that's just emphatically incorrect. So that's not gaslighting you. That's just correcting a false narrative. That's all. And you do want truth to power, right? If we want to come to a concession or whatever, we have to come to a truthful concession. Is that correct?
yeah. And what I'm trying to say is that we all supported Obama, the first Black president of
Uh-huh.
America,
Uh-huh.
um, with
And
almost eight.
how did that work for black people? It worked like a charm for your community. How did
But
that
if
work for
if
black
white
people?
supremacy is really true, like you say,
I
why would
asked you
white
a
supremacists let
question.
Black people, sir?
No, I asked you a question. How did Obama work out for black people? It worked out for your community great because there were all types of tangibles for your community. The Hispanic community, the wet foot, dry foot, DACA. There was a whole plethora of
That
tangibles for
helps
your
Black
community.
people from Africa too. DACA helps people from Africa too.
Dude, I'm not African. I'm a foundational Black American. How did that help foundational Black Americans?
A lot, sir. It's just like you
How?
just seem towards hostile. You're so hostile
How?
towards other people. It's not fair.
How, sir? How did it help foundational Black Americans?
On what subject are you talking about?
Tangibles. The same kind of tangibles your community got because of Obama? What tangibles did Black people get? Foundational Black Americans.
Affirmative action.
If you don't sit your ass down somewhere and stop playing, stop
How am I
playing.
playing?
Stop playing. Affirmative. Did you really sit yourself up here and say affirmative action, dude? Really?
Yes, Tariq. I'm being honest with you.
No, you're not. Now you're trolling, dude. Affirmative action don't benefit black people, foundational black Americans. Affirmative action benefits white women, white LGBT, and white Hispanics and white Asians, dude. Those are the people who benefit from affirmative action programs. We haven't benefited from an affirmative action program since the 70s. Affirmative action don't do anything for foundational black Americans, dude. And you know that. Didn't you know that?
I do know that,
Oh,
but
then
I'm saying they. Do,
why did you
what
lie?
I'm trying to say is Black people do benefit a little bit about it.
No, we don't. No, 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 no. We don't. We don't
How
benefit.
about your HCBUs?
What about them?
Only Black people go to those colleges.
Stop. You know good and well that other groups go to HBCUs. HBCUs are full of white people right now, white and Hispanics and Asians and Rachel Dolezal. Rachel Dolezal graduated from an HBCU, dude. You know who Rachel Dolezal is, right?
Yes, I do.
All right. Is she's not black. There's a HBCUs are full of white people and non FBA people benefiting off the struggle of foundational Black Americans. You see, a lot of people benefit off us, but we don't benefit off anybody. You see, you kind of see that pattern. Isn't that kind of a janky pattern to have where everybody benefits off one group and this one group can't get nothing from nobody? Ain't that kind of messed up in your eyes?
I do see what you're trying to say, but isn't that just playing the system? Doesn't everyone play the system?
Play the system how? You benefit from a system of anti-black racism. That's not playing the system. That's benefiting off of a system of non-justice. See, this is why we're having this conversation here, because if you're talking
Isn't people
about
pull up their own bootstraps at how they get to the top, Tariq? Isn't that true?
pulling up bootstraps, pulling up their own bootstraps, how? Give
Yeah.
give me an example of pulling up your bootstraps. How?
So your whole premise is that Black people are sabotaged towards owning stuff. Am I right?
Yes, and sabotage and in many other ways too. But go ahead.
But if that was true, Tariq, why are all these Black athletes, these Black entertainers, Kevin Hart, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, how are they living so good if white supremacy exists?
Because they are high paid employees. That's how. They're high paid employees.
Michael Jordan is a billionaire. You're saying he's an employee?
Michael Jordan himself said he got fired. He said himself that he had got fired. He did an interview talking about how he got fired by his bosses. This man is sitting on billions of dollars, I think, at this point, and he got fired. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is a billionaire, but she's on a short leash. She can get fired or canceled by people in the dominant society. These are high paid employees. Just because there's a black person with money or fiat money, that doesn't negate the fact that they're in a system of white supremacy, because whiteness is its own money. And I've said this to you before. They have $1 million worth of
And
whiteness.
I agree
Oh,
with you. I agree with you that white people do have more benefits and goodies from the system. I agree with you. But what I'm trying to say is that Latinos don't benefit from that. That's what I'm trying to say, Tariq.
yes, you do. Well, the white ones do. The Latinos who classify and pass as white, they benefit. Yes, they do. Yes,
Because
they.
we have no other option. We are Spanish descendants from Spain, so we are Spanish, Tariq.
And I explained to you before, sir. If you were Spanish, how come you don't go to Spain and say that? Because I've been to Spain, and they don't look at you as Spanish, and you know that. That's why none of you go to Spain. Y'all could easily just hop on a boat somewhere and go over to Spain, and none of you go over there because you know you would not be welcome in Spain, and you know that because you're not considered Spanish by the Spanish.
You just said that light skinned Latinos classify as white. So what other options do they have? What I'm trying to say
You
is
don't. You can classify as indigenous. There's a classification of black because most of you are really black, and a lot of you play three card Monte when it comes to the race. Sometimes you'll pretend to be white. Sometimes you'll pretend to be native. Sometimes you pretend to be black when that's convenient. So you get to play this three card Monte game. But at the end of the day, a lot of you as a collective identify as white. There is no people of color. You're people of color politically. That's not me being facetious. Y'all been getting down like that for a long time. In fact, in the 1930s, when they were going to give you your own race, they were going to classify Hispanics as a whole different race. The Hispanic organization sued and they fought back and said, no, we are white. You sued and fought for the right to be classified as white. And I have this in a chapter in my new book, Foundational Black American Race Beta. See, you're calling up making it seem like black people are somehow being divisive. Let me tell you something. When we try to reach out to you as a fellow community of color, y'all tooted your asses up at us every single time, brother. When um, the largest Latino organization, LULAC, when in the 1950s, when we had the civil rights movement started and we tried to reach out to them, but they infamously told us, and this is the largest and oldest Latin American advocacy group in the country, they said, our problem ain't the Negro problem. Let them do them. We
I
ain't
think
getting
you're
involved
taking
with that.
it out of context
What is the context of that? Please tell me.
because back in the day, people had a different ideology towards things.
Different ideology like what?
Back in the day, people had this just this different mentality towards we are now. Everyone's woke now, and back in the day, people was like, I don't know, just like didn't put up with bullshit.
So you're just saying that the Latin American organizations, they weren't woke. That's why they were racist against us.
I didn't say they were racist. I said that every group went their different direction.
Hold,
What I'm
hold, hold,
trying to
hold,
say.
hold. Okay, so wait. No, because black groups, we've always caped for your organizations. No, every group didn't go
That's
there.
not true.
No, no, no. How is that not true? When Dr. King was out here fighting for not just black people, Latino organizations, he was fighting for Cuban organizations as well. When Malcolm X was up here with Castro and all of these people. He was standing strong for the Latino community. The Black Panthers were standing strong for the Latino community. Our groups put our lives on the line for other groups and other nationalities. Our good brother Muhammad Ali, who was the most famous black person in the world at the time, put his career on the line for the Asian community, saying, I'm not going to go over there to Vietnam and harm any Asian people who didn't do anything for me. He put his career on the line. None of y'all done no shit like that for us, ever. Have you?
Like I explained before,
Okay.
during the 1800s, we helped
Oh,
black people.
the
What are you
dude and
talking
I
about, Tariq?
explained we were helping you. Stop it. We were helping you secure the border. We were doing security for the border. That was us helping Mexico. Stop it.
So you're saying the brown-skinned Mexicans didn't help the dark-skinned black people?
It was the black people down there securing the borders in the 1800s. You keep bringing that up, and I keep putting it in the right context. And let's be very clear: the dark skinned Mexicans now in Mexico get treated like shit right now. They're treated like filth right now in Mexico. They're marginalized in Mexico, all through South America, sir. When you go,
Sir, people have human rights. People can move anywhere they want to.
not if they're
Historically,
economically strapped, they cannot. They can't go anywhere because they're economically imprisoned.
they
When you
probably
have,
don't work hard enough. This probably harder work pays off, Tariq.
oh, so you're saying the black folks in Mexico don't work hard enough?
That's not what I'm trying to say at all.
What are
It's
you
like
trying
if
to say?
what I'm trying to say is if people are down in their luck, maybe they should start working harder.
Right.
And
As opposed to,
as opposed to what?
you said if they're down on their luck, maybe they should work harder. But you come from a culture that didn't work harder. You came from a culture that bounced and came around other black folks over here who worked hard and built a country. So isn't that kind of contradictory?
But like I said before, Puerto Rico is not a country, Tariq.
Yes, it is. It's a U.S. territory now, but
But it's
before
not
it
a
was.
country. It's not a
But
country.
then why do you have a Puerto Rican flag and you wave it around like it's a country? Then
California has its own flag, doesn't mean it's a country.
nobody goes around waving the California flag, dude.
It's
Nobody,
all
literally
over
nobody,
public. It's all over the
literally,
public.
really nobody has the Californian Day Parade, dude.
Tariq, are
Nobody,
you really
no,
gonna say that there's no
nobody.
California flag?
No,
Please.
who has the California Day Parade where they shaking their ass in the streets once a year? When do they do that?
They do that in the San Fernando Valley.
They don't have the California Day Parade. No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't have the California Day Parade. There is no such thing as the California Day Parade, but there's the Puerto Rican Day Parade because you look at Puerto Rico as a separate country and a separate culture, which it is. It's a different, it has its own culture,
Yeah, because
which
we were
is true.
colonized.
All of
That's
us
why.
were colonized. All of us were colonized.
That's
All
what
of
I'm
us
trying
were
to
colonized.
say, Tariq. And there's no
But
hostility towards you. I'm just trying to get to a common uh, place with you, Tariq.
but you're talking to the people who fight the colonizers. So see, I'm a foundational black American. And we've dealt with the worst colonizers. And the thing about us, we stay and fight the worst colonizers. We don't bounce to nobody else's country and tell them what they should and shouldn't be doing. See, that makes us a little bit different, right?
Maybe I'm telling you from experience.
No, I don't want the experience of running. I don't come from running culture. Nobody in my family ran.
So when they got you in Africa, you weren't running, Tariq? Everyone ran, Tariq. Hello?
Me once. Oh, let me get a host in here because my phone is ringing off the damn hook. Okay, look, I'm getting phone calls coming in. I'm gonna get with you guys in a minute because I got phone calls coming in because we're doing this movie this week. But let me, everybody, go get the book Foundation of Black American Race Beta. I'll be back on a little bit later. My phone is ringing here. Foundation of Black American Race Beta. Get it on Amazon right now. I know a lot of folks in here. We're in here heavy right now, but I want to come back on. I go back on a little bit later. I'll be back shortly. Okay.
Racism is the most powerful system on the planet. yet it is often perceived as the most taboo subject to discuss. World-renowned activist and best-selling author Tariq Nasheed takes on this challenge head-on in his new book, Foundational Black American Race Baiter. This is the most important book you will need in order to understand the mechanisms of systemic racism and how to counter this system. Get Foundational Black American Race Baiter now at Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. Also get limited autographed collector's editions of the book at officialfba.com.